Hey everybody, so today I want to talk about finding plan regions with Dynamo. So this is a script that I built more for fun. I don't use this script for anything, and if I were to do anything with plan regions, such as tracking them for training reasons, then I would probably use a tool like Clarity. I'm not sure if natively Clarity can pulls that data because plan regions are view specific, but I would have at least Clarity run a Dynamo script automatically, and then that script would write to a database or something so that I could proactively review the data rather than checking model per model. So this idea of the script kind of came from a Discord chat where they were talking about something else. Plan regions came up, and somebody mentioned how they're hard to manage in projects, and sometimes they're even used incorrectly. The view itself could be updated, and if you don't know what plan regions are, they're a way of changing the view range in a specific area. And so I've got two placed on this view. This one isn't doing anything. And actually, I'm going to delete it just so it doesn't clutter up the view. But this one is, and if we pull it back, you'll see that the window goes away because the view range currently, the cut plane is not hitting the window. And so this plan region, I do have the view range set up, so it does grab that window. And so you may use them in these instances where if you were to change the view range of the view itself, it messes up other things. Maybe you have multiple levels or something. You've got the view looking how you want it, and you want to use a plan region to update a certain area. And to find plan regions, you just go to your view tab, and they're right here. And if you see the example here, they're using it to show windows. And so that's one use case. But whenever they're used, sometimes they're not used correctly, and it's just a matter of updating the view. But also, you could see where they could cause issues if you're not aware of them. So if you're a BIM person and you're typically troubleshooting view issues on projects, and you get into a project, you start messing with it, and then after a minute you realize that it has a plan region associated to it, it might cause some headaches. And so because typically this is going to be turned off. If we go to the visibility graphics under annotation categories, if I type P, that'll take me down there real quick. And then if we look at plan regions, click OK, and then you can see it turns it off. And so you'll see that typically, and even when you have it turned on, if you're in a cluttered, I don't know, HVAC plan, a lighting plan or something, furniture plan with a bunch of stuff, it may just be hard to find them to see where they're being used or not. And so for fun, I built this script to highlight them, the appearance of them, even though that's very easy to do in categories. But for fun and just for learning, it was just cool to see. But also report what views these plan regions are on. And so that was really easy to do with a Python script. But I'm going to go ahead and drag this over. And feel free, if you want to join the Discord server, the link's below. It's free, so join the community. A lot of cool people in there. And if you want this script, check out my GitHub. The link's below as well. And feel free to download this script and use it. I'm not doing anything special in here. For fun, I'll just show you guys some of the things. There is one node here from a package, but we don't need any of it. The reason why I did this originally, I wasn't really thinking but this node does exactly what I need it to do. This does the same exact thing for what I was trying to use it for. And so in this Python script is just, I copied the node out of there and changed it a little bit. But we can go ahead and delete all this because we don't need that. And I didn't explain, but those nodes reset the overrides. And so if we override the elements appearance, make it to where it really pops in the view, you want to reset it, make it go back to no overrides. And so that's all that script does. But that's really easy to do, and that's why I've got this overrides down here with nothing set. So these aren't all the nodes, but here's some. There's various other nodes and packages, but these are going to give us our overrides. There are three different ones. There's category overrides. There's element dot override in view, and then element dot override color in view. So this is just going to do the color, and this is going to just do, this is going to do any of these properties here, because we're passing in the overrides into this. And by the way, the reason why I'm doing this is we're going to turn on that graphic or the plan regions, and then we're going to change the appearance of it. Just to make it really stick out so that we see it. And then I'll show you this node at the end where we're actually looking at the elements, and then we're figuring out what views those elements are on. So to start off, we'll override the category, which is actually going to update. If you go to visibility graphics, we'll update it in there. You'll see it. We'll turn it on, because as long as this isn't set to true, this will turn it on, because we have it turned off currently. And then we're going to pass in this override. All right, and then we've got the active view. That's what this is doing up here. Click run. It will take a minute. You'll see it turns on that category, and boom, pretty easy. And then if we want to reset it, we could just go back up here. But to do it from here, if we take this output, plug it in here, click run, that's going to reset it for the category. And if we want it to hide again, and I don't need that code block, I've already got one here. 1, if you don't know, is true. 0 is false. You could use a Boolean node too. Click run, and then we've got it hidden. It's back where it was. And then this is the element override, which is going to take the overrides, which we already have in there, and then it's going to need the elements, which over here I'm actually getting plan region category, which is why I was passing over here in this one. And then we're going to get the elements. In this case, there's 2 because I deleted one. There's one on this view, and there's one on a ceiling plan. So that's why there's 2 in here. Now, if we run this, and let's set this to, that, don't think that will work because the category itself is hidden. So let's jump over to visibility graphics, go down to plan, turn that on, and you'll see it's already updated the overrides. And that isn't a category override, because if we go back, you'll see there's no overrides at the category level. But if we select on that, right click it, and then if we go here, go by element, we'll see that it's actually updated here at the element level. So that makes sense. That's what that node is supposed to do. I'm going to move this over a little bit, see if I can bring Dynamo in. We don't really need this open. Okay, so that will update it at the element level, which we'll want to reset that. Make sure that doesn't get lost in the with the elements. And now this one, if we plug that in, will it'll do the same thing, except for it's only updating the color. So we don't need this huge node over here. We could just run this, it'll update it. If we right click it, go to overrides by element, we'll see it only updated the color. So really straightforward, but you could see, like, maybe, I don't know, like one use case would be like possibly running it. I mean, I would see the only benefit, and really I wouldn't do any of these graphic overrides. If I was trying to find plan regions, I would just turn them on in the category and not even use Dynamo at all. So that's why I said this is more for learning and for fun than it is about actually using this. And so if you've never messed with these graphic overrides, they could be useful. However, the one thing I would possibly use if it was a problem all the time is maybe the and I won't save this so that you guys can have the full script and you can mess with it, but I'm just going to delete it to get it out of the way, make it a little bit cleaner. But here is maybe the only way I would use this is possibly reporting it. If, like, I kind of mentioned earlier that sometimes people use plan regions, and in reality they could have just updated the view, and now the plan region is causing headaches. It's view specific, so maybe you duplicated your view, now you've got a bunch of them, and they could just become a problem. Now, fortunately, I don't have that problem, but if you do, this might be handy. And if you don't have a tool like Clarity that can automatically export these things or run Dynamo scripts for you, there are other tools that will, and I would recommend just Googling a few and just seeing what works for you. But if we click on this script, this Python script, open that up, take a look. It's pretty simple. And then I'll show you kind of how I got this data. So at first I wasn't sure, and I'm sharing this just so it's helpful if you're trying to learn the same things. But here is a Python script, pretty short, not a lot of lines of code, and I'll show you the how I got the data from lookup table, oh shoot, why am I forgetting it? Go to add-ins, the Revit lookup, and because I didn't know the data, I didn't know what I should look for plan regions, and so I use Revit lookup a lot of times to look at the properties and methods associated with certain elements. Well, in here, I knew I needed to get the plan regions, and that's easy. After that, it's a matter of setting or creating just an output, and I just used a set because I only want unique values, and I think it'll be helpful if I show you the actual values. So you'll see here we've got the floor plan 01 entry level, and that's what we're on now. And then we've also got the reflective ceiling plan, which I mentioned earlier. That's the other one that has one of these. You could take this further and give counts and stuff, but that's not what I'm doing here. So I'm looping it. I'm looping through my list, which is what we see over here to the left. And then what I'm doing from there is I'm just it's not appending. That's what I was about to say, because list you would do .append, but with sets you would do .add. And then what I'm doing is, and I'm using the doc, which is why I'm using this up here, and why I'm importing this library is because I'm using this method, this get element method, and the plan region has a property called owner view ID. And so this here, I'm going to select it correctly. This here is actually returning the ID for the view, and there might be a better way to go about this, but it's returning the view ID that plan region is associated to, and then we're actually passing that through this get method. That's a part of the document manager class or manager or library, and that's returning the actual view element, and that view element has a property called title. And so I'm going to show you guys that real quick because I do this a lot. Just poking around in elements, but we will, I've got to select on the plan region. I'm going to go up here to add-ins, Revit lookup, Snoop selection. And by the way, if you don't know what Revit lookup is, Google it. It's a really useful tool, really powerful, especially if you're poking around in the Revit API quite a bit. So we've got the plan region. Here's all the properties and methods and stuff. And what we're looking for is the owner view ID, which is right here. And so we can click on this. And then this is going to essentially be what gets returned. Well, technically it's the view ID or the owner ID, but this is what we'll see in the Snoop. It's going to return the actual view. And so here with the view, open the view plan. Now what we're looking for is the title, which is a property down here somewhere. Right here. So, and that's what I'm returning. So anyways, that's kind of it for this script. I'm going to make sure, well, I'm just going to close it. And then the original script you saw with everything in it, even that clockwork node is going to be in the script on my GitHub. So feel free to check that out. Let me know if you have any problems with it. And then, yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. And, yeah, see you in the next one.